Yes, that's right. It hit -3. And thank goodness I remembered to cover everything up. So this morning's going to be very interesting. I'll bring you along with the reveal, see how things fared. So let's set up and have a look. So first of all, the all important strawberries. So I put 2 layers of fleece on the straws last night to see if I could keep them from any damage. So let's have a look. Looking good. There's a little bit of brown on some of them, which was already there, but I can tell straight away looking at the green of the leaves that they didn't come to any harm, which is a good thing. So let's have a look at the seedlings next. So with the seedlings, it's definitely been a case of belts and braces, 2 layers of fleece, and of course they're in propagators which have got plastic lids. This fleece is dreadful, look at it. If you're going to buy fleece, get a good quality because it doesn't last. Right, well there were some onions that I germinated indoors and brought out, and they seem to have fared well, so I'm hopeful that everything that's under double covers will be just fine. None of this has actually germinated yet, so that's not at any risk. Let's have a look over here. Well, there you can see my onions are doing really well, not suffered at all, and I've got a load more broad beans have come up, which is fabulous. And these little fellas in these smaller propagation trays, they've done just fine as well. What about this one? Yeah, just perfect. So 2 layers of fleece, -3 degrees in the polytunnel, no problem. So these 4 little propagation trays were from the 6 that I originally sowed just about a week ago now, and I've brought them all out today because these are the lettuce and they've germinated nicely, so they're now out. This is kale. Now I'd be really surprised with the kale. There's a couple of small ones there, but this one's just got huge in no time at all. So I'm beginning to wonder whether it's really worth trying to germinate those indoors at all, and whether I'd end up with a better looking plant sown straight in the polytunnel. So I'm thinking I might sow myself another half a dozen and have them out here. In the meantime, we'll let these acclimatise in the polytunnel over the coming days. This is the tomatoes, and almost perfect germination. So we've got 5 of the tomato house, which is a dwarf cherry tomato, and this is moneymaker, and I've got 3 there and another one I can see germinating, so that's really good. So they're out to acclimatise. And this is the cauliflower, which again are quite tall. What's strange with this little tray is that everything in this row has germinated and everything in that row hasn't. I'm just beginning to wonder whether I actually didn't sow that at all. So there we are. I might go back on my video and see what happened, but they're fine. 2, 4, 6 in there. I don't need that many cauliflowers. They take up an awful lot of space. So all those are staying in here. And I've got one other thing to show you this morning, which came in the post yesterday. Let me get organised. So it's my birthday soon, and yesterday I got an early birthday present, came in the post from my mum. I'm going to share it with you. See if you can guess what it is. So there's some of that, And there's some of that. There's one of those. And this. And this is a miniature water lily. So that's put a bit of pressure on me. You know that pond that I've been making all winter? Well, last night I had a bit of a brainwave. I have to say it was a bit as a result of receiving that lily. I thought, what am I going to do? So I bailed the pond out, literally emptied the water out of it with a bucket. And then I thought that would be just perfect. So tomorrow I'll be able to get in there and get the job done. Well, I've been finding that my videos are getting longer because there's so much going on the plot. So I'm going to drop the pond finishing video as a special on Monday night. So if you want to see me crack that pond, finally, tune in Monday night, 8 p.m. I'll see you there. So in the meantime, I'm going to get this here lily potted up. It seems pretty straightforward. The process is take this purpose-made pot, which is like a mesh pot, and fill it with this aquatic compost. Plant the lily into the compost and then cover the surface with gravel. And while I'm doing the pond, I'm going to put all that into a deep bucket so that it's in the water and underway. And then when everything's ready, I'll be able to submerge it and get going. So let's have a go at this. So first things first, I get this bag open and get this compost into the basket. I think these are called a basket. There's plenty in here, that's for sure. Put it down nice and firm, I think, because I think we need a bit of weight. I guess the gravel adds a bit of weight. It does say you can put a bit of clay in the bottom, but I think this is going to be just fine. So I'm going to use pretty much everything that's in here. There we are, nearly there. I might just leave a little bit in case I need to top it off somehow. So I'm going to make a decent size hole. And I'll show you what this lily looks like. So this is water lily Leidecare fulgens, and I'm led to believe that it is definitely a dwarf variety because my pond is still only very small, and it's to be in full sun to part shade, and it flowers between May and September. Depth to a 30 centimetre level, and the spread is just 70 centimetres. So that's going to be great. I'll leave that out and show you what's in the bag. So that's the lily, and you can see it's got a broken leaf. I'll take that one off, but we've got one really nice leaf emerging, and I can see another shoot there and another shoot there, so it's a good healthy plant. Now I'm going to get that into a reasonable depth and firm it in because I don't want it to float in any way. There we go. I'm going to try and get all the edges just below the basket level so that the gravel sits in there, and then I'll mound it up towards the lily. So I think that's what's required. There's a bit of water in there. Right, let's open the gravel. And I'm just going to lay the gravel on top and spread it out over the top of the compost. And then I think she's ready. And I'll get a bucket, put some rainwater in it from the water butt, and job's a good one. Spread that out nicely so that I can't see any of the compost, at least I think that's the plan. And there we go. Let's get that in a bucket and see how we get on. Okay, here we go. This is an ideal bucket, nice and deep. Not sure what it was originally, but it works well. So I'm just going to lower this lily into it and let it float for a while, soak up all that water, and there it goes to the bottom. And I'll just leave it to soak in properly for a while before I raise the water level, and hopefully it'll be happy in there until the pond is done. Not long now. These old Belfast sinks are great for planting flowers in, but the weeds had grown up through the sinkholes, so they needed a good clearing out. And lifting this one, it seems I found the family home for a load of snails. This old galvanised water tank has been great for growing dahlias and tulips. It's got a big hole in it, but that's okay, just acts as a bit of drainage. But it can't live there. And I moved it out of the way using these long sticks, and that worked perfectly, but it's got to move from here. So I had a look in it yesterday, and the tulips are all doing marvellously. So I think the only way I'm going to move it is to take things out of here, and I've got 1, 2, 3 dahlias in here, and I think it's okay to move those right now. It's probably not okay to move the tulips, but I don't think I've got a lot of choice. So what I'm going to try and do is get down right underneath the tulips and their root ball and pull them out. And I've been preparing these old Belfast sinks, as you will have seen, and emptying them. They were full of weed and they can be used much better, and I'm hoping that the tulips will work well in there. We'll see how we get on. Let's see what we can do here. It's not going to be easy, I don't think, but the soil is really nice and soft. I need to avoid these dahlias. See what I can loosen up. I'm not sure that these go very deep. There we go. No, they're not too deep at all, so hopefully I can get under them from this side. There we go. The soil in here is still quite good, so I'm probably going to use a lot of that in the new area. There we go. Right. Did I see one go flying? No, just a weed. Okay, we'll get those over to the other area. So I'm just going to make sure I've got drainage in here, because this old drainaway got a bit clogged up. Nah, that's good. Right, I'm going to put a crock over there so that I don't block it, and then I've got good drainage. There we are, that should do the job. So we'll put the tulips in first. That'll just make sure that those crocks don't move when I put the other plants in. Right, let's see how we get on. It's not often you get the chance to rearrange tulips, so I'm going to make the most of this. I think if I end up with dahlias at the back, I just want to make sure these tulips are at the front, and they need a bit more height. That'll be just fine. There we go. So, and now we'll move the dahlias, and I'll have a look at them, because this is dahlia dividing season from what I can gather, so it'll be interesting. Well, that went well. They came out in a very stable clump, and I think I'm probably not going to disturb them, because it looks like it's pretty well solid. I think I've got to get it down a bit lower than that. Let's see if we can get some of this compost out and set him down in the corner. Now the other one is just a bit too big, I think, and I'm going to have to put it in that other wooden container I've emptied. I've had a real good clean up. Things that were just not doing so well, and that's freed up a few of these options. Right, let's get him down. There we go, I think that's going to be fine. And we'll just backfill it. Here's the other one. It's a fair old size, but it'll go in there nicely. I just need a bit of compost in the bottom. He's pretty deep. And this soil that they've been in for the last 2 or 3 years is still very good indeed. Right, that's got 2 to 3 inches in the bottom now. Let's drop it in. Try and tuck all these roots down. Yeah, it's gone in there nicely. And then we'll fill around the edges, and it's nice and loose, this compost, so it should get in and around all those roots without any problem, and hopefully this plant will not suffer for the change in environment. There we go, that'll do nicely, and hopefully both those dahlias won't be the worse for their relocation. Same for the tulips. We'll see. Well, I'm going to give these a bit of a water in. I don't know what you feed dahlias with, but if you do, put it in the comments below, and I'll see if I can get them really vigorous and looking good. Right, let's see if we can move this here galvanised water tank. For now, I'm just going to take it down to the bottom of the plot, because I don't have a plan for it. I don't know how heavy it is. Oh, not too bad. Right. There we go. And the grass under there is completely ruined, but it will come back now that I've given it time before the summer months hit us. So let's get going. I had a bit of a plan B. this seems like a good place to put this galvanized tank, because I can recover a bit of this chippings which I need on my paths, and if I just cover this over with the perspex, it can act as another cold frame for a while, which in the next few weeks will be really helpful. So it's going to live there for now. So it's that time again to prune this pear tree, and it's grown really vigorously. These upward growing branches are known as water shoots, and there's a lot of them this year because I pruned very hard last year. And you can get into a bit of a cycle of pruning hard, lots of growth, and if you're not careful you get too much growth and no fruit. So you need to be fairly careful you don't take too much off every year. So usual thing, I'm going to take any branches that are crossing, and there's quite a lot of examples of that, and I'm going to thin out these upward shoots. And I think it's got to the time where I got to consider the height of this tree and whether I take out the leading branch right to the top. So I'll look at that carefully when I've thinned it out a bit. Some great examples in here of branches crossing over each other. It's a bit like spaghetti junction there. Gonna definitely have to do something. You can see all these upward growing water shoots and lots of branches crossing over. So there's quite a lot of work to do in here. There's another one right in there you can see, and you can actually see along the side of this branch where it's been rubbing. So all that's got to come out. So that's got a lot of the upward shoots and the bulk out of it, and it's beginning to take shape. It's important to stand back all the time and just see what you've done, and it's easy to get too carried away. The big decision I've got to make now is that leading branch. I don't want too much height on this tree. It'll become unmanageable, and so I think, as difficult as it is, it's time to take out that leader, and it's going to need a saw on that. So that's next. So I'm very pleased with that. That's got the shape of the tree back to a manageable size, and it looks quite shapely. So that'll be it for pruning the pear tree for this season, and hopefully we'll get some fruit on there. We have done successfully for the last 2 years, and hopefully it will be the case this year. Well, with the apple tree, I'm a lot happier to have it sprawling, but I do want to contain the height. So I'm going to take out some of these water shoots and probably restrict the height a little, and then anything that's crossing over. So a bit of a simpler job really on this particular tree anyway. I do hope you enjoyed the video today. If you did, click the subscribe button, click the like button, and if you want updates from me each time I upload a video, click the bell and select all. I do hope you have a great day. Diolch yn fawr.